their role, but then they're also in bed with the government. And then now you're like, okay, so who's with us? And that's when you realize we are on our own. It's something I've been saying this entire time, and it's something we need to realize, that we can't depend on them. We have to be the voices, and it's for every single person. Everyone has access to these platforms. Don't wait for Mushiri to be the one to say, guys, this is happening. If you notice something, say something. Because sometimes it's impossible for us to see everything and say everything about everything, right? So you can't be expecting everyone else to be the voice. So we're not the voice of the people. We might be louder, right? We are the people, we have voices. We might be louder because we have access to more people, but everyone has a voice. So wherever you are, sometimes it's you talking to that mamamboga, you get. So everyone has to take a personal responsibility on the safety of their neighbor, on the direction this country is taking, because we can't just depend on Mike. Because then also when we start putting people on pedestals, that's why people are getting abducted. So we have to also be careful when we say, okay, we only follow ABC, and if they speak, then we are all on this together. But if everyone is speaking, it's something we're saying, you can't kill all of us, so you also can't shut all of us up.
So, sorry, I just wanted to add, I think something to flag here is where governments have some shares in private companies, it's almost impossible to get some sort of transparency for fears of, getting their licenses revoked. In the current environment we have, abductions, right? Which is where people also, within some of these companies, use other channels to expose what's happening. So in other countries where there are shutdowns, you'll find service providers saying, yes, we got directives from the government to do the shutdown. The problem with also saying there should be a complete separation could come in the fact that we've seen the isolation that happens from private companies that isolate the governments from projects, right? It's possible for the government to have a centralized internet state and for them to just at will.
Is there an example?
Sorry?
Is there an example of, a centralized internet?
Ethiopia. Ethiopia had a centralized internet, the Ethio's telecoms or something of the sort. So and countries like Iran as well have a centralized internet. And it's easier for them to just set it up and decide. We don't have to go through a third party. So I feel like even as we're thinking about solutions around the internet, we have to sort of think about some alternative channels that don't completely involve private service providers, private company.
Mike, something's really bugging you.
It is, yeah. I think we're heading to a time where any brand or any company or any organization that has to collaborate with the government for it to deliver services to the people, they have to, first of all, have their own ethos and have their own principles and figure out how they're going to do things. Because the thing with June and July, something major may not have happened. Something major may not have happened, but something really key happened. The civic consciousness of people was like awakened. Everyone now is like, everyone's eyes is on the government, anyone who is doing dealings with the government. So in future, if you're doing dealings with the government and we can really see it, just, we don't know what you will do, but you have to do it. And I'm gonna go to the point you asked, to a point something that Muthoni said about us being the voice of the people. Unfortunately, we are the voice of the people. Unfortunately, we are. And I give this example a lot, because there is power in visibility. The thing about visibility gives you power. When you have 100,000 followers, you have visibility. If my videos get 20,000 followers, I have visibility. If I can be able to post anything and it gets 200,000 views and it gets 1,000 comments, that's visibility, and there is power in visibility. And I'll use this example. One time a member of parliament went somewhere and said the Gen Zs protesting, they're being sponsored by Illuminati. And you're wise, you're learned, you would think no one would hear that and believe that. I'm telling you, one of my aunts believed it. One of my aunts believed it. Now imagine the number of people who follow me if I say that this leader was wrong for saying this and this, they will also think the same thing. They will also think the same thing.
I have to ask, Mike, what did your auntie do? Did she pray for you?
She actually offered to pray for me. Yeah. Unajua nyinyi wewe ndio uko kwa front, nyinyi ndio mnasponsiwa na Illuminati. I was like, yeah. Okay.
You know, Mark, we might be heavy on, pointing a finger towards the government, but we forget that this is a very government that gave us Article 33 for us to have all these freedoms. This is the same government. No, let me finish.
Excuse me, I just have to come in and say,
sit tight.
the government did not give you.
You give yourselves the constitution, and this is what we needed. This is what we needed, and with the same right, created structures, that provide this very internet that we are using. We forget that there is a time. You will tell us about, the research and the data that you have taken of a time. Grace Pomu, she'll give us that data.
Yeah.
But we could be quick to say the government, is,